All right, this is a brief recording on presence, sharing this experience, presence, stillness, now, different words for it, transcendence that is experienced as now, as here, and how it relates to body and mind. When presence is felt, mind can still be active. When presence is felt through repeated experience, it is felt as self. Initially, it's felt as beautifully relaxing, beautifully peaceful, beautifully still, non-localizable, you could say. It's still around through repeated experience, gradually so it becomes sticky, meaning this is yourself, or you could say, as the experiencer, myself, Atma. But Atma gradually awaking to that all there is myself too. You could say awakening to the reality of all there is, that is Brahm. Now there is something as this experience grows, repeated experience of sense, of presence, increasingly so, one realizes coexistence of activity of mind, senses is possible. In fact, it just happens. But there's yet an other aspect, and that is, in a way, you could say, power of attention. It's like flow of awareness, flow of that which can experience both presence and mind. But now the realization has come that mind is as if a domain, and you're not exclusively in the mind. You can have the experience of presence, and somewhere within it, there's the domain of mind. And you can have the freedom to choose or favor or gaze more the experience of presence or more the experience of mind. And as this repeated exposure continues, realization dawns, both can coexist. Presence and mind activity. What is mind activity? Domain of mind is thoughts. On the level of the body, there is or tied to the body, there is a sense of very subtle vibration in the experience of presence. You could almost say a transcendental hum, almost. What is that? On the level of the body, there is a subtle aspect. When there is enough of that enlivened, it acts as if an attractor to enliven pranic fields associated with body or chi. That quality that gets enlivened is from the Vedic perspective, Soma. And that on the physiological side, that thing is called Ojas. So they go together. But from the perspective of the body, when Ojas is present, it is like an attractor to enliven on the non-material side the pranic field, which gives rise to the experience of presence in that human body or ET body or whatever body that is sufficiently developed in this physical universe. When this connection through repeated experience gets more established, meaning connection stays, Ojas, Soma, enough enlivened in that mind body structure field. Presence is experienced as a stable reality, meaning it's just there. Through that, the door is open to, you could say, to awaken on, because presence, you could call it also Atma. The door is open for Atma to experience, or there is awakening to this reality that Soma is not localizable. Soma is the glue of the universe. And we merely attune to it Attuning to it enlivens other aspects in the body that have been described. What is this? Siddhis, natural abilities of that body to perform all kinds of things that are considered supernatural, but in fact they are natural. So this mind-body structure, having stabilized the connection between Ojas, Soma, maintaining the experience of presence, is an awake person. Awake. And it means also the person is awake sufficiently enough to experience that this perspective that the body maintains to experience this dreamlike reality or Maya is as if one is in it and yet out of it too. Or you could say projector and projection, meaning the experience of out of the box. This leads to another aspect. What is reality? But this is not for now. The focus here is experience of presence. It is interesting to note that this experience of that faint hum that we mentioned in the beginning within presence, depending on the body, can have different, you could say, flavors of experience. This relates to flavors of ojas. Are we experiencing those that hum as translated through the body as faint vibrational sound, like vibrational sound? Or is the body translating this faint something as glow? It could be both too. When those saints begin to suddenly recite Vedic what? Vedic Veda. When they start to recite, meaning translate those fluctuations into sound. Their body is attuned. It's as if they listen into presence and pick up an aspect. And that aspect gets expressed as expression of fluctuation on the audible layer as sound, shlokas, verses. These are not human things. And humans put meaning into it, these fluctuations. And the meaning changes from the understanding of people over periods of time. Meaning is, in that sense, useless or meaningless. Just the vibration is what counts. Those subtle vibrations within presence. Likewise, some others that are attuned to this state of presence may translate this into transcendental light, glow. And this has an effect on perception. Both have an effect on perception, and perception begins to be enriched, you could say, piercing through the surface layer of physical and begin to perceive the inner nature, or that which makes a tree appear as a tree. There's some inner nature to it. And that begins to be perceived because of the enlivenment of what you could say, that inner sensing within presence. So the sensory perception in daily life gets enriched in this way, and one begins to sense what is around as more than the surface layer. And this can be experienced as there's some glow associated to living beings, to anything. Even sound, faint sound. Formulations of blueprint pattern of whatever is in front, whatever being, their signature, core signature, through which the being is perceived on the physical layer as having a specific form, specific spin, you could say. And it all starts with the casual experience, or with the systematic experience through meditation, deep meditation, you could say. Diving into stillness, where momentarily time stops, where momentarily mind stops, and through gradual adjustments of the experience, or a customization of this experience of presence, everything changes. Awakening process from, you could say, taking into account cosmic civilizations on the physical layer, it's a threshold. The experience of presence, stabilizing, is a threshold. A race that collectively experienced this is considered having become civilized. It's a threshold. Because then the experience of connectedness of our life is lively in the individual, in that race of beings, be it humans or others. So it's a threshold of becoming civilized. That's another story. But it all starts with presence, diving into stillness, the now, and getting accustomed to it. Mm. That is all.